there's an ebb and a flow to your finances. The more comfortable you are with how you interact with the world, with the value you give in the world, with the service or the product that you give the world, then you begin to realize your place in the world. And by realizing this, you participate in the abundance that is all around you at every moment and at every time. It is all yours. From the beginning, it was yours. Until the end, it will always be yours.
The meta secret to relationships is to know that the universe is giving you love right now. When you give love to the universe, when you give love to another, you will receive love in turn. Love is the essence and nature of relationship.
Relationships are a two-way street. It's not just about taking and giving and receiving and getting what you want, but it's also about giving. I like to say that each person should take 100% responsibility for the quality of the relationship. Because if you take 50-50, whenever it's not working, it's going to be their 50%. So if you take 100% and act as if everything in the relationship, you're creating it, and when it isn't exactly what you want it to be, say, how am I creating that? Take that curiosity and use it as a tool. And when you get the answer like, I'm not coming home on time, I'm not listening, I'm not doing this, then you have the opportunity to shift and do the thing that produces relationship. A friend of mine wrote a book called Making Relationships Work. And the idea is there is work in making the relationship work. So be willing to do the work. Give as much as you get. The more you give, the more will come back.
To have a better relationship with anyone in your life, first you begin by having a relationship with yourself. Treat yourself the way you would your very dearest friend. Love yourself regardless of all the crazy shenanigans you pull. Believe me, I do this every day. So if you want a better relationship with someone else, love yourself.
Relationships are part of what the universe is giving you as a gift. The first and most important relationship is the one with yourself. When you love yourself, you heal yourself. When you love yourself, you become a magnet that people want to hang around, and you begin to attract other people and new relationships. It's all based on love. It's all based on non-judgment. It's all based on total acceptance. The universe has a relationship with you right now, and the universe wants to give you more. Are you ready to accept it?
The concept that I can't live without you is a tragic statement to me. The idea that I need somebody else to complete my life, I need somebody else or my life's not worthwhile is a very sad statement, and I think someone needs to take a good look at themselves when they say that. When you start to think that thought, stop for a second and realize life is full of stuff, and sometimes stuff is potholes, and sometimes stuff is bridges are out ahead, and sometimes there's a detour in life. I heard somebody once say that sometimes the most beautiful scenes in life are the ones we observe on a detour. Have you ever gone on a detour and realized that your life wouldn't have been the same if you hadn't taken that twist or that turn in your life? Next time stuff happens, take a look. Maybe there's something better right around the corner.
The law of cause and effect tells us that there are no such thing as coincidences. Everything that happens in this world happens because of a reason. Someone, somewhere, created a cause. It may not be something you are aware of. It may not be something we can even begin to realize or see at this level. But at some level, someone, somewhere, or a group of people, or even us, may have created it. And so as a result, we see the effect. We see the effect around us. We see the effect everywhere on this planet.
Everyone asks me, Jay, how in the world can I have a better, a happier, a richer, a more joyous relationship? And it's very simple. First thing is you got to slow down enough to be externally focused. It's all about them. The more interested and externally focused you are on the other person, the more extraordinary their experience will be, and the more naturally they'll reciprocate it. The second, and you're watching me, and I've got a serious side, and you know that, but you got to get in touch with your childlike sense of curiosity, of innocence. The third is you got to be in the here and now, and that's so trite and said so often, but being in the here and now means connecting deeply and being aware of what people are saying and looking at them and being responsive to their feedback and their mannerisms. And the last thing, and the easy thing, is to, again, as I said earlier, enjoy the process. We are so busy, so stressed in our life, trying to get from one thing to another, trying to multitask, that the greatest way to have wonderful relationships is to commit, not just the time, but your being, to being there, to connecting.
For me, the meta secret to relationships is to be the person you're looking for. Whatever it is you're out there looking for, be that and give it away. If you're looking for someone who's loving and kind and compassionate and generous, you need to be loving, kind, and compassionate and generous. Whatever it is you want, you've got to be that and express that out into the universe. And whatever you express out is going to come back multiplied.
The meta secret of relationships is for you to develop an identity that brings out the best in your partner and helping your partner to be the best that they can in order to bring out the best of who you are.
Criticism seems to be a big problem. If you are really secure in yourself and somebody criticizes you, it isn't going to bother you. Now, if you're insecure and somebody criticizes you, it's really going to bother you. You see, 9 out of 10 times, the person that's criticizing you really wants to help you. They just haven't really learned how to communicate effectively. But let's not let somebody else's criticism or their way of helping us shake us. If we're solid in our own self, and we really understand ourselves, then we can handle it and it won't be any problem. If criticism really rattles your chain or rattles your cage or really upsets you, it's not the criticism that upsets you. It's not the other person's opinion that upsets you. It's how you react to it. And you see, if you were really solid within yourself, you would respond to it. You would thank them for it and say, but I really don't choose to do that. Or you'd say, well, thank you, that's probably a good idea, I'll try it. But they're not going to knock you off track. So it goes back to have a good sound self-image, a good image of yourself. Maxwell Maltz wrote a beautiful book on that way back around 1960 called Psycho-Cybernetics. Psyche-Cybernetic. Cybernetic is the communication mechanism in our mind. It's the image that we hold of ourselves. It's like a life-governing device. Well, you've got an image of you just same as I have an image of me. And our image controls how we walk, how we talk, how we dress, how we meet and greet people. And it also controls how we handle criticism when it comes our way. And it will come your way, just same as it comes to me and everybody. We want to be solid in our own belief about who we are and what we are. Let's really get to know ourselves. And then, rather than react, let's respond. It doesn't matter how they approach, whether they're diplomatic and trying to help us or whether they're trying to find fault. It won't really make any difference. We will listen to what they have to say, listen to it, and then we'll either accept it or reject it, but it isn't going to affect the relationship with the other person one bit.
There is masculine and feminine in everything. Nothing is entirely masculine, nor is it entirely feminine. We have different aspects of yin and yang, of harshness and softness, different aspects of masculinity and femininity in everything. If you take a look at life and see it all as a combination, see how we are always living in combination, then you begin to realize and to also appreciate the law of gender.
Relationships are about communion, taking our life and making it sacred through connection with another human being. So communion and making sacred is what relationship is all about.
You know, there's a lot of lonely people around. And if you're lonely, I'm going to let you in on a secret. You're always going to be lonely until you become friends with yourself. If you're looking for company outside of yourself, you're looking in the wrong place. You want to go inside. And when you get to really look at you, you're going to feel so good about you. You're going to love yourself. Now, you see, as a little kid, you were probably taught, don't love yourself, that's conceit. I know I was, and most of the people I know. That's not conceit. That's a healthy, conscious awareness of who we really are. I'm not talking about an ego trip. I'm talking about really becoming acquainted with yourself. You've got to build a good relationship with you, or you're always going to be lonely.
When you get angry, look at it as, okay, this is a gift. I need to release something here. And in that process, relationship becomes a school for growth instead of just like it's someone that's going to please me. Look at how can I serve them and how can I learn from them, as opposed to how can I manipulate them to give me all my needs met. If you do that, you're going to end up with a much better relationship.
If you're in a relationship where you're not experiencing full love, the way to change it is not by changing the other person. It's by changing yourself. You look within yourself and you start to feel grateful for everything about you. As you change your relationship with yourself, magically, the outside relationship will change as well. You will suddenly see it transformed. You will suddenly see that there's love in that relationship with that other person. But you don't change the other person. You change you.
A lot of people spend valuable time in their life focusing on the past. I could probably spoil your week if I reviewed the first 26 years of my life. My life was a mess. And you know, at the end of 26 years, imagine living for 26 years and looking at yourself, you're unhappy, sick, and broke. I had a guy look at me and he told me I was one of the most miserable people he had ever met. And he was right. I was plain miserable. He said, you're always sick. I didn't have a terminal illness or anything, but I was always backache, headache or something, and I was always broke. He said, why don't you change it? Well, as long as I kept focusing on what led me to this point, which was a bad trip, I was going to create more of the same. And he said, let it go. Forgive it.
If you're looking for love and not finding it, it's no doubt because of a lack of forgiveness in some area of your life. This is true for all of us. You want to look in your life, look at your past, look at all of your relationships, and ask yourself, where have I not forgiven? Myself, my parents, my siblings, my neighbors, my relatives, my business partners, where have I not forgiven? When you go and forgive, you release the energy that allows the law of attraction to bring new love and new relationships into your life. How do you do this? You look and ask yourself, where have I not forgiven somebody? Somebody's going to come to mind. It could be you. The second thing you do is say, can I forgive them? Can I forgive myself? Whether you say yes or no, you move to the third part of this. And you start to wonder, what made that person act the way they did at that point? What made me act the way I did at that one point? And you start to go deep into understanding the psychology of behavior. And you realize we're all doing the best we can, yourself included. At that point, when you can forgive yourself and you can forgive these other people, whoever it might be, for whatever may have occurred, when you forgive them, You release all of the energy that's been stuck psychically within your own mind and your body and your soul. And when that releases into the universe now has an open pathway to return to you new love, new relationships, new blessings. It all begins with forgiveness, and you can do that right now.
When we talk about love, we're talking about the greatest word in the world. Leadership is a great word, but no word compares with love, because without love, you're dead. There's life in love. There's forgiveness in love. There's really everything. There's thankfulness in love. Now, the problem is learning where do we start, because we find sometimes in families there's no love. In marriages there's no love. But we quit looking around and we start learning. It begins with me. And when we start learning, we're not too loving ourselves. And it begins with your learning. To me, you could say you're loving, but unfortunately, you love people you like. Love has to be unconditional, loving those you don't like. Now, in my case, when my wife married me, she said she loved me. I told her I loved her. But as soon as we got married, I would say, I love you. She said, well, why don't you act like it? I say, I do act like it. She says, you have a funny way of showing it. I say, well, I love you enough to die for you. She says, try living a little. And so I discovered, as loving as I was, I didn't fit her definition.
The law of gender, the law of vibration, and the law of rhythm. All of these figure in relationships. You see, love is a dynamic. Any relationship is a dynamic. When you are actively relating, that's when it's alive. That's when it's fun. When you sit back and you start to look at the relationship, and it becomes static. It becomes a relationship to be assessed, to be looked at. But when you're relating to your partner or your spouse, amazing things happen. It's dynamic, it's moving, it's alive. And that's what all love is supposed to be, alive, and so much more fun. Changes happen all the time. We change. Human beings change. You change, I change, we all change. But if you can change together in the same direction, amazing miracles take place. Words, feelings, thoughts are all aligned. And all of a sudden, you can take on any problem and it's not an issue. That's what relationships are all about. That's what relating is all about. That's what love is all about.
はじめに言葉ありき、すなわち、クリエイターなるものはやはり言葉、振動を用いて全てを設計されたんではないかと思うんですね。そして、その、振動の、設計図は非常に緻密なもので美しい共鳴振動にあふれたものであったことでありましょう。もし、先ほどの実験にもやったように、非共鳴、同士の組み合わせであるならば、それは破壊的なエネルギーとなって、命を形作られないからです。私たちの体は最終的にクリエイターの、いろいろな、試行錯誤によってだんだんこう単純なものから、微生物だとか海の中のものだとかそういうものから、小動物始まって複雑なものになっていって、最後の芸術作品として、クリエイターなるものが作られた結果、私たちはあるというふうに思うんですね。 その本来の設計というものが、バランスの取れた振動の組み合わせというものが、何らかの要因によって崩れていくときに、私たちはストレスを持ち病気になっているんだというふうに考えています。
As you've already seen from Dr. Masaru Emoto, water makes up 85% of our body, and the thoughts we think actually create a vibration in the water that has memory. And so you have to think positive thoughts. Again, we go back to forgiveness and letting go, thinking positive thoughts, expecting to be healthy, not listening to what people tell you, not taking in beliefs. I have been out in the sun my whole life. I've never gotten skin cancer, don't intend to get skin cancer, and when stuff comes on about it, I choose not to listen to it because I know that belief would affect me. So I believe that I am a person that my spiritual connection keeps me healthy. Also, though, I work on the level of the physiology of the body, the biochemistry. It makes sense to play at that level. I eat organic food. I drink healthy water that's not contaminated with chlorine and all the stuff they put in it, so I filter my water. I eat the right kinds of nutrients for my body. I've found out what I'm allergic to, and I've basically eliminated those from my diet. I exercise. So exercise and keeping my body toned. We want to have resistance exercise. We want endurance, which means we need to jog and do aerobics and things like that. And we need to have flexibility, things like yoga and Pilates. So we need a complete system to keep our body healthy. And then a detoxification, I think, is the part that most people don't do enough with. We are taking in so many toxins in the air we breathe.
The first and most important relationship is the one with yourself. When you love yourself, you heal yourself. When you love yourself, you become a magnet that people want to hang around, and you begin to attract other people and new relationships. It's all based on love. It's all based on non-judgment. It's all based on total acceptance. The universe has a relationship with you right now, and the universe wants to give you more. Are you ready to accept it?
The concept that I can't live without you is a tragic statement to me. The idea that I need somebody else to complete my life, I need somebody.
The meta secret to relationships is to know that the universe is giving you love right now. When you give love to the universe, when you give love to another, you will receive love in turn. Love is the essence and nature of relationship.
Relationships are a two-way street. It's not just about taking and giving and receiving and getting what you want, but it's also about giving. I like to say that each person should take 100% responsibility for the quality of the relationship.
There's an ebb and a flow to your finances. The more comfortable you are with how you interact with the world, with the value you give in the world, with the service or the product that you give the world, then you begin to realize your place in the world. And by realizing this, you participate in the abundance that is all around you at every moment and at every time. It is all yours. From the beginning, it was yours. Until the end, it will always be yours.
As much as you get, the more you give, the more will come back.
To have a better relationship with anyone in your life, first you begin by having a relationship with yourself. Treat yourself the way you would your very dearest friend. Love yourself regardless of all the crazy shenanigans you pull. Believe me, I do this every day. So if you want a better relationship with someone else, love yourself.
Relationships are part of what the universe is giving you as a gift.
Because if you take 50-50, whenever it's not working, it's going to be their 50%. So if you take 100% and act as if everything in the relationship, you're creating it, and when it isn't exactly what you want it to be, say, how am I creating that? Take that curiosity and use it as a tool. And when you get the answer like, oh, I'm not coming home on time, I'm not listening, I'm not doing this, then you have the opportunity to shift and do the thing that produces relationship. A friend of mine wrote a book called Making Relationships Work. And the idea is there is work in making the relationship work. So be willing to do the work. Give as